It's no secret that video game adaptations have not fared particularly well on either the big or the small screen. That doesn't count, that's not an adaptation. So when it was announced that Castlevania would be turned into a Game of Thrones-esque animated series on Netflix, my enthusiasm was about as non-existent as Emilia Clarke's talent. This was due not only to the abysmal track record for video game flicks, but also because I didn't grow up with this series, although I did really enjoy the Lords of Shadow games. Plus, as you could probably tell from my horror movie marathon back in 2014, I'm a big fan of Dracula, so I figured I'd at least give this show a shot. After all, the premise seemed intriguing enough. After his medically educated wife is burned at the stake for witchcraft, Vlad Dracula Tepish loses what little faith in humanity he had and begins a campaign of terror across the land, summoning an army of demons from hell itself to slaughter anyone who dares dwell in Wallachia.
If only Senator Amidala were here.
I could summon the legions of hell.
Caught up in the conflict is Trevor Belmont, the last of the monster-slaying Belmont clan excommunicated by the church. Although initially only looking for his next drink, this exiled warrior just can't stand to see innocent people suffer, leading him to reluctantly take up arms once again against the hordes of darkness ravaging the land. Right off the bat, I'll tell you, when it comes to video game adaptations, this is one of the best, if not the best. I realize that isn't saying much, but, well, there it is.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
This is genuinely good, and it feels so weird to say that. Mind you, it's not perfect, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. Nowhere is that more apparent than in the first episode, where we see Dracula evolve from an indifferent outsider to a ruthless despot. Although it's a tad rushed at points, we experience the pain that stems from losing the only person he ever cared for and the uncontrollable anger toward those responsible. Due to the dimension given to the Prince of Darkness, we actually root for Vlad and against the church. Make of that what you will. Unfortunately, the following episodes are where the seams start to show in the writing. When we shift the focus over to Trevor, a good chunk of the dialogue becomes filled with clunky exposition, with characters coming off as shallow archetypes at best and one-dimensional stereotypes at worst. Thankfully, it's not too long before the writing regains its footing, with more humanity and compelling backstories being given to the main players, helping us better understand what they're about and why they're here. This in turn makes for more natural voice work from the talented cast. Graham McTavish is both mesmerizing and absolutely chilling as Dracula. He conveys the crushing loss and seething thirst for vengeance with such intense passion that I found myself latching on to every word he said.
She said you were traveling.
I was. The way men do. Slowly. No more.
Richard Armitage gives Trevor a sardonic roguishness that fits well with his devil-may-care attitude.
Trevor, join us.
Sure. By the way, you're all going to die.
But he's also convincing as a noble leader later on.
I'm Trevor Belmont, of the House of Belmont. And dying has never frightened me.
Alejandra Reynoso brings a welcome energy and determined heroism to the proceedings as the magic-wielding Sypha.
Witch!
No, I am a speaker and a scholar of magic. I serve no demon and I do no evil.
And James Callis lends an element of sophistication and dry humor to Dracula's son Alucard.
Please, this isn't a bar fight. Have some class.
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Honestly, the voice acting all around is pretty solid, albeit a little over the top at times.
You Belmonts have never understood the power of the word of God. The people of this city are mine, and our lords now, and they'll do as I ask in his name. I create life! And I destroy it.
Also impressive on the audio front is the music. The score by Trevor Morris is appropriately grim and atmospheric, even if it never quite matches the catchiness of the classic tunes or the majestic beauty of the Lords of Shadow pieces. It does, however, go well with the other elements that make up the series' overall approach. The stylistic angles, gothic designs, and hellish imagery give the show a sinister yet operatic feel, of which I am a big fan. It's one of the reasons that I like so many of the Hammer horror films. This sense of style carries over into the action sequences, which is where the anime influence really helps. The fight scenes are bloody, fluid, and in your face, perfectly fitting the visceral nature of the series. All of these strengths combine to give us a pretty entertaining and surprisingly engaging show. Then, just as it starts to get going, it ends. In fact, it doesn't even end, it just stops. What the hell? I haven't pined this hard for more of a show that I theoretically should have hated since Better Late Than Never. Now, I knew that there were only 4 episodes, but people who aren't aware of this going in could easily have a much more, let's say, hostile reaction. On the upside though, this is a promising start, and we are getting a second season with twice as many episodes, so the short length of this introduction should be less of an issue going forward. After all, if a series leaves you wanting more, then it's clearly doing something right. Thanks for watching, feel free to like, subscribe, and/or comment. Until next time.